Welcome everyone to episode 58 of the Missing Pieces podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening, my name's Greg, and this is where I sit down and I discuss my life, LEGO, and anything else that's on my mind each week. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your week to be here with me in the new and improved brickitect studio. Those of you that watched last week saw that I did some experimenting with the color red, and I can definitely say that that was not my win of the week. I didn't like it. I don't think you guys liked it either. So we're trying something new here. And I think I love this. But speaking of things I love, perfect segue to our Patreon thank yous of the week. I want to send out a huge thank you to Bricks and Nick for joining us on Patreon. I also want to thank Evan, and I want to thank Milo. Thank you guys for your support. Much appreciated. That actually segues perfectly into our first topic of the day, which involves Patreon. In fact, we have to go back about 10 days for this story to begin, and it takes us back to our Friday Night Patrons only stream from last week. It was a stream that I had just a fantastic time on. The conversation was amazing. I gave away a Lego set in that episode and did my first ever live giveaway. And it was really cool just having that whole experience and seeing the person there to win it. And being such, I wanted to share that experience with the world. Instead of it just being an unlisted video that just patrons see, I thought, why not just put this out to everyone so they can see what it's like to be a patron? And who knows, maybe someone would want to join based on that because before they didn't know anything about it. So I put that video out there and lots of people watched it. I think over 1,000 people watched the live stream, which was well over an hour long. And that was cool. So I thought everything was good with that until I went back and looked at the comments. And I know I shouldn't feed into these things, but it's so hard when you're a creator and you start seeing like criticisms and such. But this one comment kind of got me. And it's actually a fairly innocent comment. It says, and I won't say who said this, but it says, "I think this should be for everyone." Again, a very innocent comment. And I understand where that comes from because you, of course, want to experience everything that I'm putting out, right? Like, you want to be a part of it. And in this case, maybe you can't join Patreon or don't want to, and you wanted to be there, but you weren't. And I get it. But something about this comment, and I'm probably going to get some backlash on this, but hear me out. Something about this comment just felt like a kick in the teeth to me as someone that just puts out a ton of content. Like, just going through an average week for me, Monday through Friday, I film my entire day with Clarkman and the adventures that we do, and I put out a vlog every single one of those days. It's about 15 minutes long or longer. I also try to do a Lego video almost every day, sharing our Lego collecting journey that you guys see here, and I also do this podcast every week as well. In addition to that, I have gaming live streams that I do, and I do brickitect live streams too. And to me, that seems like a lot of content. That seems like a fair amount, right? Like, that's probably more content than almost any Lego creator or maybe any creator on YouTube that you watch puts out on a weekly basis. So when I saw that, I was like, dude, this is just like the one thing that I put out specially for the people that support me on Patreon. You can give me your feedback on this if you want to. You can be like, Greg, you're a jerk for charging people for content. But again, it's just something that I feel like is a special perk for the people that support me. I used to run my Patreon a thing where it was just like, donate if you want and support if you want. But then I realized, like, most people, they want, what they want out of a Patreon is access. They want exclusive access. They want bonus stuff. And that's what I do over there. And this isn't like an advertisement for Patreon. I'm not telling you to join or asking you to join. It's just like something that kind of happened this week that kind of caught me. And I was just like, ah. And sometimes comments have a way, and I know many of you that are watching this aren't content creators, but comments sometimes have a way, especially negative ones, of really getting under your skin. And even this one really isn't that negative. It's just, I think this should be for everyone. I do a lot for everyone. I'm just, maybe it's because I put so much time into it, I just feel like, oh, what more can I do? But speaking of what more can I do, this person's about to get their wish, or they already have actually, because segueing into our next topic, I have a new series that I'm doing. It's not actually new. It's kind of like a revival of an old series. It's called Good Morning Brickitectors. And this is a morning live stream where Clark and I we're pretty much already down here. So I just flip some switches and we go live in the morning and just sit here in this very spot and we just talk to the chat about whatever it is that they want to talk about. And it's a really great time. I think we did 3 episodes this week. And the only reason I didn't do more is because the other 2 days we were just super busy with school and running appointments and things like that. But this person that wanted more content, I guess, they're actually getting it because we're having a heck of a lot of fun there. And I've just really enjoyed it. But I don't know if I should make this a thing though, because I feel like I'm going to get burnt out. And I tend to do this every once in a while, actually a lot, where I start something and then I just go all in on it until I just completely like vaporize. And then I just like, I have to quit. And I need to find like that balance point. And this whole entire podcast series is all about me finding balance in my life. It's been my struggle forever. And I guess I solved that balance problem by keep adding more and more stuff in my life. But maybe that comment got to me and I'm like, okay, you want a Friday Night Patron only stream for everyone? How about Good Morning Brickitectors? I'm finally using this setup that I have where all I have to do is flip my camera on and click the record button or go live button or whatever, and we're streaming. So that's a thing. If you want to watch those, I don't know if most of you guys probably know that I have a live streaming channel, but it's linked down below, Brickitect Live. It's where we do stuff like that. And I've come to realize that I actually enjoy just sitting and chatting way more than I do building and chatting. And I've seen this in other people's streams too. I just feel like it's more engaging and more entertaining. I know some of you, and maybe most of you, are LEGO enthusiasts, but I watch people's live streams where they're building, and it just seems like, it seems boring as heck. Like, a lot of times they're just kind of really focused on the build, and I've been there. I've made this mistake with the Darth Maul build. Like, I was just so intense into that, and I'm sure the people that watched that stream thought I was just the most boring person in the world. But I feel like I can be engaging. I just need to put all of my attention into what I'm doing, which is speaking. And I love doing this. Like, this podcasting thing, or just sitting down here and talking to you guys, is like one of my favorite things that I do. In fact, it probably is my favorite thing. So adding that in is really cool, and I hope I made that person happy. I'm sorry that I do something that isn't available to everyone, but just know that I'm putting out as much stuff as I can every week. In fact, I sometimes think that I probably put too much content out there. I think maybe doing a vlog Monday through Friday on one channel would be enough for some people, or most people. And I think there's probably a lot of people out there that just can't even keep up with all this, because I know there's creators out there that I watch that put out half as much as I do, and I want to watch their stuff, I just don't have the time to. So that was that this week. I just thought I would share all that and, you know, catch the wrath from you guys for talking about it, but maybe I won't. We'll see. There is some feedback, though, that got a little spicy, and I'm excited to get into that. But before we do that, let's talk about the next thing that you guys want me to talk about that I should have probably made a video on, and that is Brickitect buying it, the LEGO Ideas Sesame Street set? And I've been asked about this on several live streams, on the Good Morning streams, and I think I should probably address it here as well. Am I buying that set? Yes. Am I buying it right now because I think it's available today? Probably not. The promo that LEGO's doing right now, which is the Han Solo and Carbonite keychain, I think for spending $100, no less, I think is absolutely whack. I think it sucks. I think LEGO needs to do better. And I think I'm going to hold off until December on the Sesame Street set just to see like what promos LEGO may be doing around the holidays, or maybe I'll ask for it for Christmas. I think it's a really cute set. I guess I'll explain my thoughts on the set before I talk about my buying strategy. I think it's a really cute set. I know some of my friends were disappointed in it because they looked at the original LEGO idea and or creation, and it was a massive set with like a lot of detail to it. Probably would have been like a $350 set. LEGO ended up making a $120 set, so a lot of that detail isn't there. I don't think that's reason enough to be upset about the set or to hate on it. I think it's got some cool minifigs with it. I think that the set's charming. The interior is really cute. There's all these fun little things. I know there's a lot of stickers. I think they're stickers, which is probably going to trigger me, but I just think there's so much love that went into that set, and I think it's fantastic. I think for the price point it's really good. Would I loved a $300 version of it? Of course, but I also think that LEGO knows that you can't make every set that expensive, especially with like the Diagon Alleys and stuff that are out there. It's like we got to have some different price points here, and this one I think at the 120 is very fair, and it's definitely one I want to pick up for the charm. Some people have asked in the comments last week if I have any nostalgia for Sesame Street. A little bit. It wasn't something that I watched all the time, but I remember being at like babysitter's house and watching it there, and I remember like going down for a nap after watching it and stuff. It's crazy some of the things you remember. And Clark, like I've tried getting him into it, but he doesn't really seem to like really be absorbed in it in the way that he is with other shows. And I don't know why that is. Maybe if he watched more of it, because I remember him being that way with Thomas as well. Like when I first put Thomas on, because I thought it'd be something he would like, he wasn't really loving it. But then it's like psh, something went off and like he became obsessed with it, and the rest is history. So we'll see. Clark loves the set. I love the set. Mrs. Brickitect loves it. So it may end up becoming a December purchase. I don't want to pull the trigger now and get that Han Solo keychain because it's lame. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Star Wars Detector's triggered, but it's not something I necessarily need in my collection. And if I'm going to spend $100, I think we could do a little bit better. In fact, I talked about this, I think, on one of the Good Morning Brickitectors or somewhere that I have been this week making videos. It's, in my opinion, I feel like LEGO should have a $100 promo all the time, and it should be a decent one, because I think of it like this. If it's a typical $100 set, let's just say $100. Walmart is probably selling that set for 20% off. I mean, this happens across the board. Sometimes the expensive sets, not so much. let's say it's a $50 set. Make this simple, I guess, or more complicated. $50 set on Lego.com is usually $40 at Walmart. It's $40 maybe at Target. Target sometimes sticks to MSRP, but Amazon certainly $40, 20% off. So I'm buying through a middleman, which would be Amazon or Walmart, and I'm spending 20% less. Why can't Lego, who's charging full price and cutting out all of the channels in between, why can't they sell that set to me for full price but give me the other $10 worth of like a bonus or a promo or a gift with purchase or whatever you want to call it? Why can't they do that? And why don't they do that? I know the VIP is nice for the 5% off, but yeah, it's not really competitive. That's why I buy most of my stuff from Amazon. And then they send it to me in a bubble mailer and I cry myself to sleep every night. But I don't know. I would love to say Lego, do something at the $35 level, like where this is like asking a lot. So I'm going to ask a lot. $35 level, throw me a keychain. Give me the Han Solo and Carbonite. $50 level, give me something that's worth like $10. $100 level, give me something that's worth like 20. I know they probably wouldn't be able to stack that though, because that would get a little crazy. Maybe at the different levels, that's where they could have the one item. Because if you ordered something for $100, you end up getting 3 things. And that seems like a lot. But I just, I'd settle for Lego just doing something. There should always be something going on. Entice me. Like if you're doing something really great right now, my money would already be in your pocket. The Sesame Street set would be on its way. But you're doing a keychain. Come on. Next topic I want to talk in non-Lego news. Oh wow, I'm looking at my outline here. We actually got into Lego a little bit earlier than anticipated. Sometimes the whole episodes go we don't talk about Lego at all, but I do want to talk about something non-Lego, and that is Halloween this year. This is a holiday that, is it a holiday? I guess it is. That Clark looks forward to so much. He spends almost the entire year talking about the things that he wants to be for Halloween. And it changes throughout the year, but he's like so into it, which is why we got him like 3 costumes this year. And the whole month of October, he's been dressed up and just like thoroughly enjoying it. So last night was Halloween, and it was on a Saturday night, which is cool. The weather was nice. It was a full moon. It was like everything you'd want for a Halloween, except for it was during 2020, which means that like everything sucks, right? Well, luckily for us, this is one of those times where we actually got to live like a somewhat normal life. Clarkman ended up dressing up as Mario riding Luigi, and there will be a vlog about this that's going to be free to everyone, coming out in, I guess, a week from now. And I can't wait to edit the footage. It was so good. But Clarky dressed up. We went out, had a fantastic time, just like all the other Halloweens that we've experienced and maybe that you've watched on our vlogging channel. It was awesome. He got a whole ton of candy, had a great time. People loved his costume. It was special. It was just like an escape. And there were some houses, I feel like there weren't as many that participated because maybe you don't want all these little COVID carrying kids running up to your door and coughing in your face as you hand them candy. But there was a couple, I think at least one house had like the tube slide for the candy, but most people were just giving it out. And I know we took some risks in doing this because Clarky wasn't really wearing a mask, although he did have a mustache on. And, the people handing out candy weren't either. But I just want some normalcy in my life. Will it ever happen? I don't know. But I don't regret it. We were outside. It was one of those things. Clarky should have had a mask. We should have all had masks on, I know. But it was something. It was like in a year where we literally couldn't do anything, we had a Halloween, and it was a fun time. Feel so guilty for having a fun time this year. In addition to that, we watched some Halloween movies. It's kind of transitioned into Watchitect, if that's what we're calling it. One movie that Clark watched for the first time is Ghostbusters. Oh man, I won't give you any spoiler alerts because it's only like 36 years old. But Ghostbusters is a movie where these 3 guys that become 4 guys start to eliminate ghosts in New York City, and it's such a good movie. Is it a horror movie? Not really. Is it a comedy? Probably. It's like a mix between the two. Like there's a couple scary moments. Like if you have really young kids. Am I really explaining Ghostbusters? If you have kids, you've watched Ghostbusters. If you're a kid, you've probably watched Ghostbusters. It's unfortunately not available to stream anywhere. We have it on VHS, I think. So I ended up buying it for $8 digitally. So I have that like everywhere and we can watch it anytime. That was a fun watch. Clarky liked it. I asked him what his favorite part was and he said the ghosts. Maybe not the busting. I don't know. But it was a good time. And I'm thinking about making like that a tradition each year where we pick out some Halloween movies. And that's what we watch. In addition to that movie, We also watched last night after we got home from trick-or-treating, which was like it started at like 6 o'clock and we were home by like 7:30, so it's still at an early night. We watched Nightmare Before Christmas. And if you haven't seen Nightmare Before Christmas, it's available on Disney Plus, which I highly recommend because it is the best value in streaming. If you're going to get one streaming service, HBO Plus, Disney Plus, HBO Max is good too. Disney Plus is the one to get. But Nightmare Before Christmas is on there, and it is such an amazing movie. I watched it last night with him, and I don't think I've ever actually fully watched the movie. Like, I know the premise of it, I know the characters. I never actually watched it, but sitting down to watch it, it's a very short movie. I don't even think it was an hour and 20 minutes. The design, it's a Tim Burton movie, so I don't even need to say anything more, but the design is amazing. The music is, visually, it's so fantastic. I loved it. I want to watch it again. I just think everything about it was great. But the premise of it is Jack Skellington is the Pumpkin King from Halloween Town. He ends up going into Christmas Town and seeing how awesome that is, and then he wants to make his own Christmas, but it doesn't turn out so well because they're all in like the Halloween mindset, and it's just it's a fun time. So if you want to watch two great Halloween-ish movies, Ghostbusters 2 also, Nightmare Before Christmas, there's a bunch of other ones as well, and I don't know, I just want to make that like a tradition of doing that. One thing we need to do, though, maybe we need to do this today. We didn't carve any pumpkins this year, and I don't know why. We got pumpkins. I guess time just kind of escaped us. Maybe it's all this content I'm putting out to everyone. Am I bitter? Are you not entertained? That's what I want to say in the beginning of this. I just start this episode off. Are you not entertained? Is this not why you were here? But we need to carve our pumpkin before it rots. And then after it rots, we'll go out and smash it like we did last year. That was fun. But that was Halloween in a nutshell. Had a great time. I'm sad that it's over. I love the whole month of October leading up to it. You guys saw that we did you can see them over my shoulder here. We did the Halloween builds earlier in the week. We did them Friday. That was fun too. My creepy Darth Maul I'm still working on. I haven't had time to finish him. Maybe I'll do that today too. I have so many things I want to do in such a short period of time. There is one other thing I want to talk about, and I think I might have mentioned this on the live stream we did while we were building the Halloween sets that I just showed you. Another video that was available to everyone. We had a really awesome Friday. Clark got his pictures taken for school, his school photos. And it was really odd because it was Friday's a day when no one's there. So we just went in. It was just like the photographer was in the gym. We went in, he stood on the line, got his picture taken, and we left. And it was like, okay, that was school picture day. We're going to get a yearbook this year. I asked Cody about this. I was like, are we getting a yearbook? Like, it's not like he's really in the school. It's not like he knows these other kids. Like, there's no like real memories from the school, but we're gonna get one anyway because it's a passage of time. But after that, the thing I wanted to share with you that's more important than photos, I took Clark out for the first time ever and got him a McDonald's breakfast. He's never had a McDonald's breakfast before. Usually we're like McDonald's lunch people, but I have to say McDonald's breakfasts are banging. I ended up getting was it a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle? Slamming. Clarky got a McChicken biscuit. I knew he was going to like that. I wasn't sure about the McGriddle. He tried it, wasn't really loving it that much, so he tried basically the McChicken biscuit is a giant chicken nugget or a chicken patty on top of a biscuit. And he put ketchup on it and loved it. I also got a caramel frappe. Oh, so good. So that was our Friday morning and just had a fantastic time. Then we came home. We built these guys up. We did a live stream. It was so much fun. I had just a great weekend this weekend. That was really just stuff that I really love, and I'm happy to have these memories. But on that, I guess that pretty much wraps up everything this week until I'm uploading this and I'm like, I forgot to talk about that other thing. It happens every time. But we're going to get into feedback here. And man, the feedback was fantastic this week. I've got a lot to go through. The first couple of feedbacks here are on our schooling decision that we made. And the first comment comes from Locked Door. It says, hey Greg, I think you made the right decision for Clark, man. If he's anything like me, he will have much fonder memories of home and family than he will of his first couple friends. I'm glad the remote kindergarten series is going to continue. My university is going to announce the official plans for the upcoming winter semester this week. I'm certain it's going to be almost entirely online as there has not been a significant reduction in cases in my area. Online school has not been kind to me, but I feel like it's the right call in this case. Thank you for that feedback, sir. Next one comes from Life with Nick and Haley. It says, hey Gregory, my man, I love hanging out. I don't always hang out, but when I do, it's like hanging out with a close friend. Keep up the great work, Papa Bear. I've got to say, you've made an extremely well thought out decision regarding the Clark man. You guys are just boosting my ego here. I don't know if I can take this. It goes on to say, as if you needed the extra reasons to keep Clark at home, but on average, homeschooling produces far more well-rounded children who go on to be more stable, content, and achieve higher academically than those who go to school. As a school teacher, I believe so many children could achieve so much more if their parents were more involved. While we don't have any kids yet, I do have a niece, Charlotte, and seeing my sister so involved with her puts my mind at rest knowing she's stimulated in a loving environment. Love the podcast, the energy you and your fan bring to the channel. Super refreshing, my man, Nick. Thank you for the very nice comment, Nick. Now, on the other side of it here, we also have CW Spoiler, who says, Greg, as a parent, I see where you're coming from. But from an outside perspective, think of your choice like this. Selfishly, you might want to keep him home. He might tell you he wants to stay at home, but that is because he knows no other way. Think of it as a race, and Clark is starting the race held back. Kindergarten is a fun grade and teaches you how to socialize, and many times you meet your best friend, but now Clark goes into first grade. But instead of knowing how to socialize and be with other people, he is just uncomfortable. The other kids have done this for the year before and are comfortable with their kids their own age. Now Clark is socially behind and can be affected the rest of his life. Greg, send Clark to school. I love this because I like seeing both sides of the aisle, I suppose. It's some of these comments, they come off like just boasting for me, and it may seem like all I do is share ones that are like, hey Greg, you're a genius for keeping Clark home. You're the smartest person that ever exists. No. I like this because this shows the other side of it. And I agree with some of what you're saying. I think there's a lot of important social things that come from being in kindergarten, and the social end of it is the reason that I wanted Clark to go to school. But also this year is hampered by a lack of socialization. The class sizes as of right now are minimized, although they won't be in the future. But then that also creates an issue with people not having social distancing. So this year isn't like many others, but I will say this about Clarkman. You say that he's going to start off behind. I want to say that Clarkman is probably one of the most social kids that I've ever seen. It's so crazy too because I'm an introvert. Cody's an introvert. I remember as a kid, like when I went into preschool, I literally hid behind my mom. I remember like not wanting to interact. I remember just like not being like social. But Clarkman, on the other hand, dude, we go into stores, he is all about talking to people. Like it's crazy. It goes to show you that it's just like sometimes you're just born with certain traits and sometimes you're not, because you would think with Clark spending most of his time with me, and we spend most time at home, as you can tell from the videos, you think he would be an introvert. But man, the kid is he's a little social butterfly. And I have no doubts that if everything's back to normal, next year when he goes to first grade, I think he's going to snap right to it and he'll be just fine. But there is that chance. So I totally understand where you're coming from, and I don't take away anything from what you said, because I do agree that the first year of school is important for, one, developing norms, which is this is how school is performed, this is what you do, this is where you sit, these are the other kids, look how they act, look how you act, this is how you should act. And I think that's important to learn. But I think in the long run, like I said in last week's episode, I think the memories that we're making this year and me helping him with his schooling and the learning that we're doing outside of school, I think this could have a huge benefit to him in the future. And he still has 12 more years to do all the things that you mentioned in your comment there. But I do appreciate the feedback. The next topic is algorithms. We talked a little bit about this last week, and the first comment comes from the Great Snow Blizzard. I love that name. He says, I feel like the news media does the same exact thing as YouTube, as many journalists claim to be objective, yet they are beholden to investors. For example, in Australia, 4 to 5 media companies own most of the media industry, and the rest are funded or partially funded by the government. Hence, you can still fall down a rabbit hole when watching or reading the news. And I agree with you. Like, if you watch any of the news channels, the cable news, I should say, they know who their audience is. And it's very hard to be in the middle, because you want to cater to your specific audience, whether that's far left or far right or whatever it is. If you're just in the middle, if you're just like, what's the word? Like if you're just objective, I guess is the word you used, people aren't interested in that. They want to be reinforced with what they think and what they know, and they want you to feed that to them. And that's what CNN does. That's what Fox News does. And it works out well for them. Unfortunately, just like I was talking about last week, when you start going down that rabbit hole of only hearing and seeing the things that you want to see and believe and hear, it makes it seem like that's the only perspective. And it's very hard then to go on the other side and understand that this person or these people, just like in the last thing that we had there with CW Spoiler, it's hard to then be like, well, what you're saying is not true at all. I don't believe that. Like, this is the truth. Well, there is no truth. There's just things that we believe, and it's good to see on both sides of it. And that's why, again, I appreciate the random feedback that we get here, because this is just my brain. I want to know what's in your brain. What are the other viewpoints out here? James has a similar comment here. He says, part of me feels like I should click the items. He's talking about YouTube. The algorithm shows me just to explore what they're showing. Part of me says, I've done research and found things I want to watch, and I bookmarked those creators. So I'm kind of torn. I think I'll stick with what I have researched and liked on my own. I may miss something, but at least I know I will not be brought into something I don't really need to be watching or filling my brain with. Let's face it, at my age, there's not much room left to fill with unwanted vid watches. And I hear you there. Brickstar had a similar comment. He talked about how the YouTube algorithm works in a way that he gets fed these things that he doesn't necessarily want, and he has to go out of his way to subscribe to people that he wants to see, and he really doesn't even use like the watch page. He just goes to subscriptions. And that's how I used to be too, but I feel like, for me at least, YouTube has gotten pretty good at showing me what I want to see. The problem is it is so narrow. Like, it's only stuff that's very similar to what I've watched, usually from the same creators. What I want YouTube to do is feed me stuff that's like what I've watched, but from new people. I want to find new perspectives. Like, let's be honest, if YouTube has been watching me watching videos for all this time, they should know exactly what I want to watch. And that isn't always just like another video from the same person, another one, another one, another one. I want something new. And I find that sometimes you kind of have to go and search on your own to find those. So I get what James is saying there, or Jim. Next topic here, this was one from last week that I thought was going to get people fired up. It really didn't. It was on Roblox. I talked about how it was the worst game I've ever played in my life. Mainly just because I played it on Xbox, and Clark and I tried it out. We haven't played since, to be clear. But Scott, who's always contributing here, says, do not get into Roblox. It's psychotic for kids. Telling you, Clark Man will turn into a devil after a while. My kids have gotten beyond that. Beyond bad. They rage after trying to get them to stop. I saw another comment like this as well, where the guy said his kids play Roblox, and it really makes them like agitated and angry, and it's not something that necessarily happens when they play a game like Minecraft. And maybe it's because it's like competitive in some cases. Maybe it's because there's other kids on there. Maybe that just, I don't know. You guys are kind of steering me away from wanting to play it. Not that I really had any motivation to do so before. But Ronan says, this is a Roblox detector, says, I appreciate your opinion on Roblox. I myself enjoy it because I've been playing for over 3 years. I do think you should give a little more time into it, though, especially on PC or Mac. I think it's not Roblox itself you don't like, but the games that you played, and that's okay. This is a person that understands multiple points of view, and I appreciate that. I always hear good things about it, and I think it's interesting to finally hear someone's reason why they do not. My win of the week, we'll get into a win here. My win of the week was not really mine, but my dad's. It was his birthday on the 23rd, and me and my mom saved a little money to put towards the Moss Isley Cantina that he really wants. So on Tuesday, we're going to call it in as soon as they open and grab it that night, because it's sure to get us a load of points. Sucks that we missed double VIP points, though. I think that's great. And Dad, happy birthday if you're watching or listening to this. And well, don't show it to him before you surprise him with it. But congratulations on your new set. I hope you enjoy it. But thank you for the advice on Roblox. Again, I love the fact that you tell me why I should try it and aren't upset with my opinion that I didn't like it. I think that's really cool, and that shows a level of maturity that maybe even some of us adults could use. But speaking of triggering people, I had one comment here that I was surprised with, but this is from Jeanette. It says, Greg, I love watching your videos. However, today you did just what you didn't want to do and went too far. Just saying this as an uneducated rural person. Just because people don't agree with you doesn't make them uneducated. This mindset is causing a huge divide between the U.S. people. You said yourself that as a parent, it's your job to educate your child. Exactly. Just because you don't go to college doesn't make them uneducated. With that said, I love you and always look forward to your videos. Well, Jeanette, I'm surprised of all the things that I've said in the last 57 episodes that was the thing that went too far. I did make a comment about uneducated rural people and where I live, and people kind of just following the herd mentality, and I shouldn't have used the word educated. The more I thought about this, it didn't even strike me until I saw your comment. I think what I should have said is close-minded, not uneducated. Sometimes maybe those things go together, but maybe not. I'm not trying to insult people that didn't go to college. In fact, I wasn't even talking about college in that statement. You should probably know from these episodes that I'm not a huge believer in school as it is, and I wouldn't judge someone if they went to college or didn't, because I'm not a huge believer in college myself, and I don't really support school systems to the fullest extent, even though my wife's a teacher. So that had nothing to do with whether you went to college or not and whether someone is uneducated rural person. I just see a lot of things in my area, and I've heard people say a lot of things that it just kind of shows. It's not, maybe, like I said, uneducated, not necessarily the word. Closed-minded definitely is a better word for that. And I think maybe some of that comes from being in an area like we are, and maybe like you are too. I can't really say. You're surrounded by a lot of people that are just like you, that think just like you. And like we were talking about earlier, sometimes you don't see the other side of things. And sometimes you just put things in your brain and it's like, this is how everyone should feel. And there's a whole nother person out there that maybe is very much unlike you that feels a whole different way. And that's fine. I think everyone should just respect everyone else's opinions. You can surely have your own, but just know that other opinions exist out there. And unfortunately, at least where I live, and this is just my experience, I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. And that was never more symbolized. And this is going to get slightly political. So if that's something that you don't love, just fast forward like 15 seconds here, or maybe more. I saw a giant truck drive by with this big flag that had a political candidate on it. I won't say who, but below it, it said, F word, your feelings. And I was just like, wow, is that really what we're running on these days? And again, I don't want to get this political. I'm not going to say who I'm voting for. You vote for whoever you think's best, but it was just like, that shouldn't be it. And I feel like, unfortunately, that was just one thing that I saw, but I feel like there's a lot of people that kind of feel that way. So anyways, Jeanette, thank you for your feedback. I'm sorry if I offended you, and hopefully I didn't offend you anymore with trying to describe my position on it. It's a slippery slope when you get down to keeping it real on the internet, and sometimes people don't like the things you say, and sometimes you misspeak, and it leads people down the wrong path. But I know your comment was in good faith, and I appreciate the kind words at the end there where you said you look forward to the videos. I hope you stick around. I'll make it up to you somehow. The next comment is a made me smile comment, which came from Brick Trick Sale, who says, hey there, Greg. And this is a little bit of a longer one, so bear with me. I'll read this the best that I can. It says, I love the podcast. Been watching the channel for some time now and listening to the podcast on Spotify since day one. I decided to finally come over to the YouTube side and post a comment. First, I just want to say I turned 24 and have been married for almost 2 years. My wife is a little older than me and is ready and always asking for us to start a family, even though I am good to wait another 2 years. Why do I tell you all this? Well, because ever since I started watching you and Clark, and the relationship you two have has definitely got me wanting a child of my own more than ever. I can't wait to collect Lego with my kids and have just as much fun as you do with Clark. So I guess I want to thank you for showing me time and time again the blessing of having a kid. I also wanted to share my win of the week. After hearing you talk about how you always encourage people to start a channel on YouTube if they have something they like to do, I finally did that, and I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel, but I finally did it. And yes, you guessed, it's a channel about Lego. Not only is it a win, but this week I hit 20 subscribers, and that was such a good feeling. And yes, I'm writing this for my new channel, so it's a fresh subscriber to your channel, but my main account I watch on has been subbed to you for a while. Okay, this got too long, so I'll just say thanks for the podcast each week. I love listening to you, and you're good at having a Lego channel, but you're great dad to Clark, man. Aw, that made me smile. That was my made me smile comment of the week. Thank you, Brick Trick Sale, for that. And I'm proud of you for starting a channel first and foremost, and for having a kid. Oh, it's a wildly rewarding experience. It definitely takes away some of the freedom you may have had and the free time you've had, but the awesomeness that comes of it and getting to raise a person that's growing into this thing and seeing what they become is amazing. It's crazy in ways where you sometimes don't know what to do or what the best thing to do is, which is what the last several episodes have been talking about. There's no user manual with this. There's no instructions that come with raising a child, but you just try to do your best, and it's been an awesome experience so far. And every day is something new, and it's an adventure that I'm just excited to be on, and to get out of my own space and to be focused on everything about me, and to have that focus go on to someone else, and that being your primary responsibility. It's super rewarding, and I wish you the best of luck if you guys take that path. I'm sure it'll be an awesome one, and you'll have to come back in a while and let me know how that turned out for you. The next comment, though, oh, I shouldn't have put this one here, but this is the made me sad comment. Turn those smiles upside down, guys, because this one's sad. This is from Easy Craftsman. It says, another great episode. I'm glad to hear that your chocolate lab Roxy is doing well. Unfortunately, we received some bad news about our 12-and-a-half-year-old yellow lab, Chloe. She has had trouble putting weight on her back left leg. The vet thought it was just an injury that didn't heal well, but after her stronger pain reliever would wear off, her ability to move would get progressively worse. A few weeks ago, an x-ray on one of her back legs revealed a tumor on her hip joint. Fortunately, it is not spread to other areas of her body. Due to her age, surgery or amputation is off the table, and she is now basically in hospice care. She gets the stronger pain reliever and is spoiled rotten every day, but our fun-loving and sweet personality has been slowly changing. Our oldest daughter, who is 8 years old, gets upset that Chloe won't let her hug and kiss her as much anymore. We sat them down and explained that she's in a lot of pain and it will continue to get worse, and that we need to do is take it easy around her. We knew this day would come, but who was ever ready for it? With everything the kids have gone through this year, the last thing we wanted for them was to lose our amazing dog, their best beloved friend. It would be great if she remained happy and comfortable through the holidays, but that is probably the best case scenario. I know brickitect advice segments are no longer a thing, haha, but if you had any, it would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for the wonderful content. And, oh man, this one hits home because I have an aging lab as well. And I know this day is going to come eventually where you kind of have to make the decision on, is the dog's quality of life worth keeping them going, or would it be the more kind thing to do just to put them down? Because I think that's what you're asking here. And it's a tough thing to say. I can't really answer that for anyone, but my advice to you, and this is the advice I'm going to give myself when the time comes, because we all know it's coming. And like you said, you're never really ready for this as much as you prepare yourself or know that it's coming. Even when you get a puppy, there's going to be a day that you're most likely going to outlive that dog. And with dogs, unfortunately, they sometimes, you don't just wake up one morning and they pass in their sleep. Sometimes it's medically related things. And sometimes you have to make that call. And I dread the day that I'm going to have to do that, where it's like, we're going to drive to the vet for the last time. You're going to hug your dog for the last time, and that's going to be it. But I would say with Chloe, if she has any quality of life on the pain medications, that she's enjoying her life in some way and she's happy or not in pain, I would say keep her going. If that quality of life is completely gone, if she can't walk, if she's laying there, if she's miserable or constantly battling this pain, I would say you gotta make the decision to do it. I know there's never any good time, it's whether it be at Halloween time, at Christmas, Thanksgiving, January, February, there's never a good time to put your dog down. But I think you really just have to monitor the quality of life that she has. And if you feel like that is below a level that you'd want an animal to be living at or yourself to be living at, then do the thing that's right for her. And your daughter, I think, will understand if you explain that. I don't know what it's like to raise an 8-year-old. I don't know what that mentality is like, but she probably is old enough to understand that if Chloe's hurting, the right thing to do is to put her down. So hopefully that helps. Sorry you're going through that. Again, there's going to be an episode of Missing Pieces someday where I have the same conversation probably. I just hope that it's episode number 6,000 or something, but the reality is it's going to be much closer than that. So on that sad news, let's go into the wins of the week, guys. Let's turn this around. We're going to wrap this up here with some wins, and we had a lot of them here. Brian's Bricks has our first win, who says, my win of the week is not only turning 17 today and being very grateful, but also being able to drive 2.5 hours to finally get my white whale 10260 downtown diner at the LEGO store after not going for almost a year. Congratulations, my friend. Next one, very similar. Stuff Thing says, hey, Greg, sorry for the late comment, but I wanted to wait to post my win of the week until it actually happened. Today I got my learner's permit, and now I'm excited to learn to drive, and it's such a great feeling to be independent. Oh, dude, I remember those days. Being able to go wherever you want, do whatever you want. It's glorious. Next one comes from Mellow Cello. It says, hey, Greg, my win of the week was going to the Kane County Toy Show. There I got a lot of minifig parts for cheap, as well as more Funko Pops. And if you care about those, I'm trying not to care about those. It's a dangerous addiction, my friend. Also, my dog with cancer is doing much better, and I'm blessed. You helped my week again. Thanks for the podcast, and stay off the octane. That's a great comment. Congratulations. Lots of good things happening there. Next one is from Yami. Bakura says, another great podcast, Greg. My win of the week was being able to sell some of my Hot Wheels through online market. I usually open up a small stand on car-free day events, but after the Chima virus strikes, I had difficulty in continuing my small business. Thankfully, I was able to make an online market account and is currently making profits out of it. Hope you have a great day, man. Keep making content. Well, thank you. Congratulations on your business keeping going. That's good. Selling Hot Wheels, nonetheless. Next one comes from Unboxed Burger. It says, my win of the week was being able to build my own operating system in Linux. I don't know what that consists of, but it sounds very complicated, so I had to put that in there. Congratulations. Next one comes from Jasper. It says, nice episode. I just recently did the Got Talent from Generic Stud. It was awesome, and it was amazing to hear other LEGO fans and share my passion. So that was my win of the week. I was supposed to be on the panel for that, but we ended up having to do our family photos at the same time that was going on, so I had to cancel, unfortunately. I would love to watch the video of it if it's possible to watch, but that was Got Talent from Generic Stud, who's another creator on here that you guys should subscribe to. He's a classy fella, but I would have loved to be there. That was something else that happened this week. We got our family photos done. I'll share those with you when we finally get them. Next one comes from Raphael, my favorite Ninja Turtle. It says, great podcast once again. My win of the week is competing in my baseball championship game. Although my team didn't win, we all had a great time, and it taught me that the goal of baseball isn't winning, it's having fun. I wish other parents realized that. Like, I've been to Little League games, and sometimes the parents get a little fired up, and I'm like, dude, it's just a game. Like, your kid did well, he didn't do well. He should be having fun. Don't make this a stressful experience for him. I'm going to be the chill dad at the baseball games if Clark decides to take that path. Next one comes from Aiden. It says, hey, Greg, my win of the week was getting to spend some extra time with my girlfriend and sorting more than half of my LEGO parts collection. Are you available to do mine? He says, unfortunately, it wasn't under great circumstances. Her dad tested positive for COVID, so we had to quarantine in her basement, living off warm water bottles and microwaved/air-fried food. It was the perfect time, though, to reorganize my LEGO parts, sorting by part type instead of color, as my collection was getting too big. It was a stressful week, and my test came back negative, so I'm clear to live in my own house again. I want to say thank you to you and Clark for helping me and my girlfriend get through our not-so-fun week. Congratulations, man, and congratulations on getting the organization done. Maybe that's what I need to do. Lock myself down here with warm water bottles and microwave food and crank it out, because I have a lot of organizing to do, too. It's bad. I'm glad you're negative for COVID, too, man. Next one is from Webmaster. Repeat offender says, win of the week was visiting Mount Vernon, the home of the father of our country. Does anyone know who that is? It was awesome. Long trip. Good thing I saved up some of your podcasts for the trip. Well, I'm glad to keep you company during your drive, man. Next one comes from FLX. This is Felix, aka Graphic Bricks, and this is a fun one that we're gonna spin off into next week. It says, super fun podcast. I'm glad to say that I had a very good week this week. Best I've had in months. I'm currently suffering from post-virus fatigue from having COVID back in March, and I'm glad to say things are looking a lot better. Been getting good marks at university, feeling happier, and joining your Patreon streams have really brightened my day. Let's hope things stay good, not only for you, but for everyone else. And in terms of new topics, I think discussing what the world would be like in 5 years would be super interesting. Example, will online learning become part of all schools? Will we move towards a more cashless society? How will we be about hygiene? And more importantly, where will LEGO be in 5 years' time? And that, I thought, would be a great thing to talk about next week, specifically from you guys. I would love to do a viewer feedback, and if there's enough people, maybe we can do an extra pieces episode on this. I love the idea of where will the world be in 5 years. It's fascinating to think about, and also kind of scary, because you don't know if things are going to get better, if things are going to get worse. I hear people talking about how 2020 is like the year of COVID and like a bad year, but what if this is just the first year of a bad decade? I'm hoping that's not the case, but I would love to hear what you guys think. Where do you think all of these things would be? It could be any topic. Online learning in schools, where will that be? Cashless society, hygiene, LEGO. What do you think is going to be different in 5 years, I guess, is going to be the topic that we'll discuss. And I'll have my own thing that I talk about, too, before I discuss yours. Something I'm going to ponder on. Maybe we'll talk about where we think it'll be and where we hope it'll be. Hopefully those two things coincide with each other, but sometimes they don't. And I thought that was an awesome way to send you guys out with some feedback and maybe a topic to discuss. But we can talk about anything you want. I love hearing your guys' feedback on these episodes. In fact, I think it's what makes these episodes what they are, is hearing from you guys. So if there's anything that I talked about this week that you would like to discuss further, let me know that. Or if you have something to say about it, let me know that. If there's any random topics that you would like to discuss next week, my life's only so interesting. I would love to hear from you on that as well. Anything is appreciated, and I always love going through the comments and picking them out to share here. So on that, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you want to support this podcast, you can obviously leave feedback. You can leave a like in the video. You can leave a review or rating on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to this, I should say you can listen to this everywhere that podcasts are available. I think I always say that, but maybe I didn't in this episode. You can join us on Patreon, which is helpful. If you want that exclusive content that I should be giving to everyone, everywhere, every time, that's over there. And you can even be even more entertained. So on that, thank you guys all for listening in to this week's Missing Pieces. And, oh crap, I messed up the outro. We'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.